I have some great news about guilt and shame coming up next on Pastor Bob Daly. We don't usually put those two words in a positive category, guilt and shame. But I want to define them for you first and want to tell you some good news about them. First, about guilt is what you feel when you are, well, when you've done something wrong. Shame is what you feel when you are something wrong. And folks, there are so many people living in shame because of the way people have treated them, because of their own misunderstandings about themselves, whatever it might be, but there are a lot of people that are shamed, well, as a result of guilt many times. And here is the good news about all of this. The Bible says that Jesus Christ died for our sin and our guilt. I like this part. In other words, he says, I want to take away the sin altogether, and I want to take away the guilt that's part of it, because I have set you free. Well, that automatically takes care of shame then too, doesn't it? Because shame says, I am something wrong, and he now says, you are a child of God. You're not even identified with who you used to be. Now, once in a while we label ourselves. We label ourselves according to those things that we struggle with, and some feel like they're legitimate. Everything from things emotionally, bipolar, whatever it might be, to things spiritually, to things physically, to whatever it might be. And it doesn't mean that you don't have difficulties. It doesn't mean that you don't struggle with those things. But we don't name ourselves according to our problems. We name ourselves according to what he says and who he says we are. Isn't it great that he calls us a child of God, that he calls us an overcomer, that he calls us free? Does that mean that all automatically I stop struggling with those things that are part of me and those things that are difficult? No, it doesn't. But it means that I have a new name. And that new name is significant because it means that I move from this realm of guilt and shame and I move into freedom in Jesus Christ. Once again, guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says I am something wrong. And Christ says, I forgive you. Now enter into my rest and my freedom. Folks, if you haven't done that yet, this is a great place to start. Begin the process of freedom. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the shame. Christ died for it all, and he says you are now a new creation. Therefore, if any man is in Christ, he's a new creation. The new has come, the old is gone. 2 Corinthians 5:17. That's good news, isn't it? I want to announce that I'm starting another podcast. It'll premiere Sunday, and then it'll probably go up every Saturday after that. But it's called, are you ready? Getting Naked with Pastor Bob. I'll show you the intro in just a minute. But in this podcast, I want to start with the basics. We're going to talk about what is Christianity when you take away all of the tradition. You take away all of the misconceptions. You take away all of the junk that people keep teaching, and you take away, well, our own struggles with it and our own opinions that make it something else. And you get to the core of what Jesus said this relationship is all about. And I hope you're going to join me every single week in Getting Naked with Pastor Bob. God bless you. Have a great day, and here is the promo.